2001, 19 terrorists hijacked 4 East Coast flights, crashing 3 of those airplanes into targets in New York City and Washington, D.C., with the 4th plane slamming into a field in Pennsylvania after brave passengers fought back. But in the end, 2,977 people died, making it the deadliest attack on U.S. soil in history. The Al-Qaeda-led attacks prompted President George W. Bush to declare a global war on terror military campaign. On September 20th, 2001, in a speech addressing the nation, Bush announced his war on terror, saying, quote, "Our war on terror begins with Al-Qaeda, but it does not end there. It will not end until every terrorist group of global reach has been found, stopped, and defeated." In October 2001, the war in Afghanistan began, followed by the Iraq War in March 2003. And since that time, many brave U.S. military service members have served, fought, and died to keep us safe. Additionally, many of our first responders have continued to put themselves in harm's way as our first line of protection against terrorism on the home front. At this time, will any War on Terror veterans with us this morning please either stand or raise your hand? Thank you for our freedom, and God bless you. On 9/11, a multitude of first responders were responsible for saving the lives of many of those victims. In the face of the worst terrorist attack on American soil, as terrified citizens ran away from disaster, brave first responders ran toward it. Their goal was saving lives. Both before and since 9/11, many have dedicated their careers to keeping our nation and our communities safe. Today, we have representatives from the Shelby County Sheriff's Department. Deputies, will you please raise your hand? We also have Montevallo Police and Fire Department representatives. Will you please raise your hands? And now, will any other first responders with us today please raise your hand? Thank you for all you do. Today, we honor not only these heroes, both living and deceased, but all veterans and their families who have sacrificed so much for our freedom, especially those Gold Star families and their ultimate sacrifice. Would all Gold Star family members please stand or raise your hand? We are forever in your debt. Sunday marks the 21st anniversary of 9/11/2001, when nearly 3,000 Americans lost their lives on U.S. soil, and many later died from illnesses related to the aftermath of that attack. The United States had not experienced such an attack since Pearl Harbor, where 2,403 people lost their lives and another nearly 1,200 were injured. Since that time, a study by the Watson Institute at Brown University in 2018 estimated that nearly 7,000 U.S. military deaths have occurred in Iraq and Afghanistan at the time of the study, with a consolidated estimate of first responder deaths on U.S. soil still unknown. Today we honor those who sacrificed all. Now, sadly, another troubling statistic is that death by suicides among veterans and service members who have served post 9/11 amount to 4 times that number. A June 2021 report by Boston University estimated that 30,177 active duty personnel and veterans who served in the post 9/11 wars have died by suicide. 30,177. Post-traumatic stress disorder is also a major health concern among first responders and is believed to be underreported. So today, to help bring more awareness to this crisis, Leslie and Robert Bishop, parents of Brandon Keith Bishop, hope that by sharing Brandon's story will help focus attention on post-traumatic stress disorder and the need for understanding the effective treatment. An only child, Brandon was born on October 16, 1986, in Birmingham. He lived most of his life in Alabaster and Columbiana until joining the Army in 2008 at the age of 21. According to his mother, Leslie, Brandon was so excited to join the Army. By doing so, he was following a family legacy of several uncles, great-uncles, and even a great-grandfather in World War I who had served in the Army, as well as his grandfather who served in the Army Reserves. Specialist Bishop was stationed in Washington State and subsequently deployed to Iraq. When Brandon returned home after his tour in Iraq, Leslie says, he just came home different. Brandon married while he was still in the Army, but his wife left him after only a year of marriage. After a time, Leslie says that the difference in Brandon became more apparent, and he was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. After his initial treatment, Brandon did pretty good for a while, as long as he was on his meds. Sadly, as with many mental health patients who have difficulty dealing with the side effects of drugs, Brandon got off his meds and went downhill. On January 8, 2020, at the age of 33, Brandon Keith Bishop lost his PTSD battle to suicide. He was buried here at the Alabama National Cemetery on January 14, 2020. Those who knew Brandon before the devastation of PTSD remember him as a good and generous man with a heart of gold who'd give you the shirt off his back. He is greatly missed and loved by his family and friends. Today, Leslie Bishop will lay a wreath in honor of the victims of 9/11 and the War on Terror's fallen. Mrs. Bishop is accompanied by Stephen Weir, Director of ALNC and War on Terror veteran. Thank you, and God bless you, Ms. Bishop. Now, let us take a moment to remember those lost on 9/11, the U.S. military who made the ultimate sacrifice in the War on Terror, as well as those first responders who have sacrificed all. It is incumbent upon us to remember their sacrifice. Please rise if you're able for the playing of Taps by Patrick McGuigan, a U.S. Navy veteran, followed by a moment of silence. Thank you for being with us this morning. Let us continue to honor the legacy of those who have served to combat the evil and terrorism. And please know that those of us here today will never forget. Now we move on to our day of service to honor those we remembered today. I will call our support committee chairman, Pam Nichols, and our cemeteries, well, he's not here, is he? Stephen Ware, the director of the Alabama National Cemetery, to direct those who have volunteered to clean headstones for the next hour. You all may be seated.